I'm Summer, and welcome to Lockdown Lounge,
where we show you our favorite happy hour cocktails from home. Hi, Summer.
Hi, Myris. How are you?
I'm a little tired, but that's okay. How are you doing?
I'm actually really good.
That's
feeling great. So,
it's hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
It's been a long week already, so I'm glad for our topic today, and I'm glad for what we're drinking. What we doing today, Summer? We don't have an actual regular liquor. We're just doing.
No, we don't. We're each doing something different. We're doing digestifs or
after dinner drinks.
There you go. In common parlance, we'll say after dinner drinks.
So guys, after dinner drinks go back to the 5th century. They are what Summer said, a digestive. It's good for it's supposed to be good to settle your stomach. You could be familiar with a plethora of after dinner drinks, whether it's ports, brandies, cognacs, some whiskey cocktails, coffee cocktails, etc., etc. And we're going to show you a couple of those today. So Summer, what you making for us today?
I am making a French Connection. It is named after the movie French Connection with Gene Hackman, and it is actually an official cocktail. Like, there is a specific way you're supposed to make it. It's supposed to be in a rocks glass with over ice, and it's supposed to be equal parts cognac and amaretto. I ain't doing all that. That's not what I'm making. So I am doing Grand Marnier instead of amaretto because, one, I don't want the nutty flavor, and two, amaretto's really sweet. Grand Marnier's probably, would you say Grand Marnier's sweeter than amaretto, Paris?
I would say it's up there. It's a close second, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is it's more fortified. You can actually taste the cognac in it. So Grand Marnier is a cognac-based orange liqueur, and it tastes really well with cognac cocktails. So the original French Connection has equal parts Disaronno Amaretto, which Myris has actually used in a previous cocktail, and it's good. It's a little nutty and it's a lot sweeter in my opinion, but this is gonna add a hint of orange, and the cognac base works really well, as I said, with cognac. So this is really simple. I don't even have ice this time because, like I said, it's supposed to be served over ice in forget the watermarks, okay? So this is supposed to be served over ice in a rocks glass, but I like cognac-based drinks in a snifter, especially if I'm not serving it chilled. And in this drink, I do not serve it chilled. I generally like it just as is. We going back to basics. No copyright infringement, intended, since I'm doing foolish as it is. So I have my nifty jigger. We're doing equal parts. So I'm gonna do 1.5 ounces of cognac. And the cognac I'm using today is just Maison Rouge. Like I said, I don't like the Henny. I think it's overrated. So I like they're cheaper. And by cheaper, I mean more affordable, and they're still pretty tasty. And I'm using a VS because I am mixing, but VSOP would probably be better since it's the star. Where's my? So then 1.5 ounces of Grand Marnier. And then I'm not even stirring this. This is just straight in my snifter. And there you go. We have a very simple French Connection. Back to you in the studio, Myris, as I
Thank you.
My camera.
Very nice. That looks good, Summer. Okay, well, without further ado, I'm going to do my cocktail for today, or my after dinner drink. I picked a very classic after dinner drink. I picked an Irish whiskey. Irish coffee. I said Irish. Well, I'm going to be using Irish whiskey, but I'm making an Irish coffee. Sorry. So for that, all you're going to need for your liquor is some Irish whiskey. I picked this Jameson Stout. It's a new addition to Jameson. It goes great with coffee cocktails because it does have a hint of coffee, chocolate, and butterscotch. It's different from traditional Jameson because it's crafted in beer barrels instead of the actual whiskey barrels that Jameson is usually crafted in, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in my my glass right now. I picked a glass with a handle, a mug, because I don't know, I feel like all Irish drinks are like, you know, like a pub. I feel like pubs have glasses with handles. That's just how I feel about that. So
I thought you were gonna say it's because it's coffee.
No. I was thinking of the Irish, you just give me your ale, la 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 la. Like, I don't know. I feel very public.
That's not racist or prejudiced at all.
Not that. It comes from. Don't you watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Where it is time to play a game called Irish Drinking Song.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they have a segment that is supposed to be like an Irish song that they sing, and it's like a freestyle, Wayne Brady and all them. No? I'm so old. I'm showing my age now. That's just it. It was a Whose Line Is It Anyway reference for my older crowd. Mm-hmm. Geez, Summer, just make me feel old as dirt right now.
You're younger than me, so get out of here.
Okay. So I'm gonna add 2 ounces of my whiskey. And I should have done this beforehand, but I'm going here and cook me up some coffee real quick. Anybody who's worked in the restaurant industry knows this is the pain in the butt about making coffee cocktails. Is usually you gotta wait for the coffee.
Can we're gonna put up a count of how many times you forget something, because this counts that you didn't have your coffee already prepared.
Oh my God, but it's right here. So I was thinking like, I don't want my coffee to get cold. I don't know.
So when I say I didn't want my ice to melt, you give me crap. But
I did.
If we saying, you know, you want your coffee to be hot, all
the
of a sudden.
difference is I didn't have to leave the screenshot to go get what I needed. You always gotta leave, like, step off screen to get your stuff.
But now we have this whole, like, how many minutes of just looking at your chest? That's
true. Sorry, guys. Well, I am going to get the party started with putting some agave in it. A traditional God, why do I keep saying that? A traditional Irish coffee does not have all the, like, goopity goop that some people put into it. Some people throw Baileys into their Irish coffees. Some people top it with the creme de menthe. That is not the traditional Irish coffee. It is whiskey, brown sugar or some kind of sweetener, coffee, and whipped cream on top. That's all you're pretty much getting from me too. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my agave now. I'm gonna grab about a squirt or 2. And I don't know why, I also like to pre-stir just to already get it kind of mashed together before the coffee. And now my coffee is finally brewing and coming out. So thank God for that. So I can get out of my boobish form eventually. Oh, all right, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that wonderful sound of coffee? And now my dog just came in, all the distractions right now, but that's okay. That's the point of happy hour from home. You're at home, stuff happens, and we're gonna roll with it, guys. All right, there we go. And so then I'm gonna pour my coffee in here. So, and now I'm just gonna add my whipped cream, guys, which I had on deck. I'm gonna shake that up a little bit. I've worked at several places. I've worked at several places, guys, that either will have canned whipped cream or have homemade whipped cream. It doesn't matter, whatever you like. And just for fun, I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon on top just to make it look cute. And there you have it. I'm gonna give you a good shot of it. Boop, boop, bow, bow. So, without further ado, cheers, Summer.
Cheers.
I'm not even gonna get through this. You know what? I'm gonna use my spoon because I know I'm not gonna get even to the coffee right now. Oh my God. This is so good. It's actually really what I needed.
Really? It's giving you some
tired
in your step?
I needed this caffeine, yeah.
I feel so sophisticated, you know, it's like,
Yeah, you do look like hella sophisticated right now. Ooh, excuse me.
You okay?
Ugh. So me and Summer have been in the game a long time. We've told you this a lot during these recordings. We have seen it all. We have done it all. We have loved being bartenders, and sometimes we hate being bartenders. So what we're going to talk about today is those ups and downs of being a career bartender. What did you want to start with?
So the biggest thing is whether or not, first of all, you can be a career, not even just career bartender, but a career server or bartender. Like, can you make this industry a career? And a lot of people say, like, the issue with bartending is, you know, there's no retirement in bartending is what you'll hear a lot. And that's mainly because, like we talked about this in the tip video, like, you don't really make hourly wage in a lot of places. You make like $3 or $4 an hour plus tips. And with that comes the fact that, you know, it's not a traditional corporate job, so you're not getting the benefits and all of that, which could be an issue. So I will say that I'm lucky enough to work at a bar that has benefits for the employees, the full-time employees. Like, my employer provides offers medical insurance that we can buy into. They have a 401k that they match, or they used to before the pandemic. They give sick days, vacation days, all of that. So you can find certain positions or certain companies to work for in this industry that do offer the traditional benefits and actually makes it a viable career. But I will say that it is not common. And unless you know how to finagle the industry and like work your finances and stuff in order to ensure that you have a retirement or that you have medical insurance and all of that, I will say that this industry isn't very forgiving for those who lack the initiative to take care of all of those things. So that is definitely a con. Like, you don't have a employer making sure that you have medical insurance, making sure that you have a 401k, making sure that, you know, if you have if you get sick, that you're getting paid. Like, for the most part, you have to cover all of those things yourself, and that is definitely a con. What about you, Maris?
Yeah, no, agree 100%. Guys, yes, there are some restaurant jobs that you can find that will provide health insurance, dental, stuff like that, but it definitely depends on the type of restaurant and how many hours you work. And even sometimes with the health insurance, you still don't get certain things health-wise that are important to you, such as maternity leave. I gotta tell y'all, when I was in the restaurant industry, I had both my daughters while working as a bartender, as a full-time bartender. It was, I don't regret it, but it was tough doing. I did up to how many months? Summer, 8 months, eight to 8.5. I was about to pop.
Yeah, you were one of the ones, like, we've had girls that literally were working because there was no maternity leave. We had women who worked up until like 3 days before they gave birth.
Yeah,
Gave birth, and then were back in the restaurant full time 7 days afterwards. Like, and it wasn't because they just love working that much. It's because they had no choice, because legally, like, restaurants, well, any employer for the most part has to abide by the FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, which basically means that you are entitled to 12 weeks of unpaid leave, maternity leave or parental leave, when you have a child. But that just guarantees that you can take 3 months off without, wait, is it 3, 4, 8, 12? Yeah, 3 weeks, 3 months off from your job without being fired. It's not saying that you're going to have any, you know, income during those 3 months. So these women would work up until the last minute in order to stack coin and then have the kids, and then immediately be like, well, I need to come back because I have no other option. But then you have people like Myers. Myers, you took a little time off when you had both girls, right?
When I had both, I had to, at that point, Noel was just transitioning into being a toddler and I had a newborn, so I had to be home. But again, I did not do the traditional 3 or 4 months that most women get with other jobs. I maybe did a month because I had to.
Yeah. I know there are certain, we have a coworker, a friend, who was one of those women who went up to the last minute. I think she went up until 2 weeks before her last was born. But then because of circumstances, like with her partner working and like her saving money and stuff, she was able to take, I think she took 5 months off. And she was able to do that. It was unpaid. But she was able to do that because I will say our industry is very flexible in that it's a bit easier to get shifts covered, I think. So they were able to give her more than the required 3 months off. Like they didn't see an issue with giving her 2 extra months because all the shifts were covered, and she still got all of her shifts back when she came. So like that's the a plus that could be a pro, is that you're not as stuck to the guidelines of only being out for 3 months, depending on your employer. Because honestly, if our employers were jerks, they could have been like to the day, like 11 weeks and 6 days, like you coming back tomorrow. You know what I mean?
That's true. Another pro about being a bartender and having to come back to work they're always ready to hire you back. Whereas if other jobs, if you leave, that position might not be there when you get back. It can be true for restaurants as well, but it's not as likely. Restaurants are always hiring, The turnover ratio is so big that if you find
these COVID times, they still hiring. Like you still gonna be able to find a job somewhere.
You're always going to be able to find a restaurant job. So that's a pro. Another con, if anything happens in your life, emergency happens, you get into an accident, you get sick, someone, God forbid, dies in your family. I feel like it's so hard you have to get your shift covered, and you have to make sure that you let people know ahead of time before your shift, even if something just happened 20 minutes ago and it's crazy. Whereas other jobs will be understanding, tell you take your time, tell you to put your hours in to get paid for like bereavement pay and all those kind of things.
What else? Con of working in this industry as far as career. Well, a pro, like you actually have some places, like especially if you work at a hotel, at a restaurant, you can actually get a unionized position where you get all of that. You get bereavement, you get vacation, you get sick leave. But to be fair, Myers, most employers, no matter what your industry is, like they don't offer paid maternity or paternity leave, and that's just because like the maternity leave or parental leave system in the United States is just garbage. Yeah. Especially for a first world country. Like honestly, if you look at all of the leaves offered by other countries, like we have one of the worst. I think in the UK or something, though, they give you like 6 months to a year paid. Like in other countries, you get like paid first of all, and second of all, you get like months upon months up to a year. So yeah,
I agree.
Garbage.
I agree. But as a company, I'm sorry, I have to give the company personal responsibility. Not every company can do it, and I know that. But if you are a restaurant that is a corporate restaurant, all that stuff, you have the means to do stuff. I have a job in America that I get 6 months paid leave if I have another child. So it can be done. We got to stop making these excuses like, oh, well, it's because of this, it's because of that. Well, no, change starts with what you want to do. Like change. So if I'm the owner of a restaurant, I'm going to make a conscious decision to either take care of my employees or to keep the money. I don't know. That's how I feel, but I don't want to get too like fight the power right now. I want to keep it like lighter than that.
That's fair. That's fair. So, what else did you want to talk about for this industry and stuff?
Oh, cons. It wears on your body, man. Like all the people don't think it wears on us because like at the table, guys, we look all happy and smiley and prestige and all that stuff. But when we're lugging around heavy plates, heavy glasses, and what y'all don't see is half the time in restaurants, servers and bartenders have things called side work. We don't have a lot of people half the time. You think somebody's back there slugging the glasses for us to make your drinks or lifting the heavy stuff, heavy boxes of mint for us or whatever. Not that mint's heavy, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm about to say, well, you understand, or
I'm
like
thinking about kegs, like having
kegs.
the kegs.
Thank you.
Those things are heavy, or like we don't have bar backs at my restaurant, so
Yes.
we're washing all of our dishes ourselves. I will say
picking up cases of liquor for our restaurants, stuff like that. Even just standing, as long as we stand all day long.
11-hour shifts on your feet the entire. When I say my hips and my knees, like there's no reason for my body to hurt as much as it does, but it's because I am constantly on my feet on hard ground. It's not like I'm on carpet all day. Like I am on concrete or tile all day, running back and forth. My back, I hold a lot of tension in my upper back because of holding heavy plates. Mm-hmm. It wears on your body. Like my grandmother was a career waitress, and she actually retired from being a waitress, and she was older when she retired. And the fact that she was able to do it for so long with it wearing on her body it's amazing. And I will say that when I first got into this industry, my family was concerned about the fact that I was going to be in this industry and how hard it was for my body. And that was something that they brought up when they were talking to me about why I decided to transition from being a lawyer to being, a bartender, and whether or not I was prepared for all of the physical demands that was going to be on me. And I will say that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
When I tell you that coming home, I used to sound like old boy from Friday.
Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh, I want 150,000. But we can settle out of court, right?
From the movie Friday, like, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Like, I used to be broken. Like, when I was bartending and serving in my 20s, it was a little easier because you have the 20-year-old body. Like, your body kind of bounce. But once you hit that, like, 25, scoot up there ages, man, the old stuff starts to kick in, and like your back and your neck and your hips and your knees are not them 20-year-old knees no more. So bartending at our ages it gets difficult after a while. So you have to keep that in mind when you're
I started in my
career.
I started this industry in my mid to late 20s when I already wasn't recovering like I used to in my early 20s. So my body, I felt it right away. I would say like a couple of months in, I was like, mistakes were made. I wasn't sure that I was gonna make it because I didn't realize how demanding it was going to be. So that's another thing. It's like, okay, so this is the biggest concern for me. I actually had this conversation with the bar guest who was a career bartender. He was in his late 40s to early 50s. He came to my bar and he was talking about, how he isn't really working right now because his restaurant hasn't opened their bar yet. They've only opened 50% capacity inside. So long story short, I asked him, I was like, okay, so question to someone he's been bartending since the 90s. Okay. So I was like, question to someone who's been in this industry for as long as you have, what do you say to people who say there's no career in bartending and there's no retirement in bartending? Now he was of the mindset that he sees that wasn't prepared. He did not prepare himself adequately to retire. So he's like, well, if I don't work, I'm kind of screwed. He has no money saved up to retire, and I don't want to be in that position. And then it's also the fact that there's a stigma of this industry. A lot of people think that we're bartenders because we don't have any other prospects. And so like the older you get, the worse it gets. I cannot tell you how often I'm asked whether or not I'm a student or what I want to do with my life. Like, so when I say no, I have a couple of degrees, I just don't use them. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I enjoy. I always kind of get the side eye because people think that being a bartender is a stepping stone. So right now I'm relatively young. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm relatively young to the point where I may get the side eye about being in this industry, but I'm not necessarily judged because they still think I have time to get a real job. When I'm older, when I'm in my 40s or 50s, am I still going to be hireable? Am I still going to be able to work in this industry, or are people going to want a younger, newer model? That is something you also have to consider, whether or not you're going to be marketable as a bartender or a server at the level that you're at now when you're older, because I'm sorry, a lot of times people are kind of being in this industry and they don't want to be perceived as, being old-timey. And that may mean that I won't be able to get a job in my preferred area when I am older. So that's also something you have to think about.
That's true. And this is probably the last pro I'm going to do, and then we might have to cut this short because my house is like absolute chaos right now, and like babies are crying and dogs are scattering, and I don't know if y'all can hear all this, but I am like, so the last pro I'm going to give you guys is a pro that everybody can understand. Money, 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 money. Man, the reason that we stay in this industry like we do is the money is good. You get a lot of it, and you pretty much get it every night, depending on the restaurant you work at. Now restaurants are more doing towards payment over direct deposit and getting cards specifically for your job, debit cards specifically for your job that they load your pay onto, which sometimes might be like every week or every other week. But besides that, it's a lot of money. It's good money, and most of the time it's fast money. And honey, we like the fast money.
Mm-hmm. It's when you're used to cash in hand, it's really hard to go back. So like I was used to leaving with, a couple of $100 a night. Like if I needed money for a shift, for something in particular, I could pick up a shift and leave with the money that I needed, right off the bat. So it's hard to go from that to having to wait 2 weeks for a paycheck, which I currently have to wait a couple of weeks for a paycheck because pandemic changes everything.
Yes.
But yeah.
Before the pandemic, it was quick money. Like if I needed diapers, like I would go into a shift and I'd have diaper money, formula money, and I was good to go. It does have a certain appeal to it, and it's hard to give. Once you in, it's hard to give up. But once you feel like you're done, then you're done. It's kind of like if y'all watch P-Valley, we're getting into that Mercedes age right now. Like we've been OGs for a while in the game, making the money, and then once we got where we're at, we kind of like leave. And everybody thinks we're gonna be like, you'll be back to bartending, Myris. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Do you watch P-Valley, Summer?
I know, but I keep thinking about, you probably changed it to that, but I remember once you likened the industry, specifically this bar that we worked out together, as like the abusive boyfriend.
Yes.
I shouldn't say that, but.
Yes, the bar we used to work at, I definitely thought of it as an abusive boyfriend, like treated me badly sometimes. Made me feel bad about myself. I was always tired, but I just couldn't get enough. I kept coming back for more.
That's not funny. Okay, on that note, that's the end of this episode, guys. As usual, like, comment, and subscribe. Visit lockdownlounge.com info and also hit us up on social media. And please drink responsibly.
And stay safe. And we'll see you next time, guys. Peace.
This is the lockdown.